Shalom, brothers and sisters!
Shalom.
Guest, honor of guest, my mom. And since we are in family, I was wondering, how come the people are not keeping the fifth commandment? Mom, what is the fifth commandment?
The question in English, one part.
Yeah, honor.
Honor your father and your mother, so your days will be prolonged on the earth.
Oh, yeah. So, I think that people, it's hard for children to honor their parents because they're not knowing how. They're not having someone teach them the way they should be taught. So, we're gonna share what I think should be shared. Okay, so in the Shema, starting with the Shema. Deuteronomy 6:4 it says, "Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today," which is the covenant words, right? It shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hands, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. Now these words, we know that the 144,000 have a mark on their forehead, and it's the Father's name. So I'm pretty sure they're keeping the Shema, right? So now I was looking. We were just talking about this today, me and my mom, about because I was also checking out, how do you demoralize a generation? How long does it take? It takes like 20 years, because it's you teach the children, one generation, a whole generation, lies, deception. So then when they grow up, they teach their children lies and deception. And that's not what we are commanded to do. We're commanded to teach them the truth, and is Yahuwah's word, and print the words of Yah upon our children, so that they might, if they leave the way, they might come back when they're older, right? So in Psalms 78, it says, "My people," you could read it, please. "My people, give ear to my Torah, incline your ears to the words of my mouth." I love that, and I love the fact that this is a poem of Asaph, but King David, like all his psalms are basically, don't forget the Torah. Thank you for reviving me with your Torah, Abba. Oh, don't let me forget your Torah. It's constant. That's the constant pattern there. So I thought that was interesting and great. So, and it says, "I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old, which we have heard and known. For our fathers have declared to us. We do not hide from their children. Declaring to the generation to come the praises of Yahuwah, and His strength, and His wonders, and which He has done. For He raised witness in Yaakov, and put a Torah in Israel, which He commanded our fathers to teach them to their children, that it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and declare to their children, and place their trust in Elohim, and not forget the works of El, but watch over His commands." Wow! So this is very important that we imprint these words upon our children, right? And see, like number 8 declares that and not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation which did not prepare its heart, whose spirit was not steadfast to El. So, we have to make a choice. It's time to choose. We want to choose to follow him or to be stubborn and end up and not enter the promised land, And so then all these wonderful things that it relates later on that they were hungry, they were thirsty, and he split the rock in the wilderness, number 15, and made them drink as from the great depth, and brought forth streams from the rock, and caused waters to come down as rivers. See all these wonderful signs. He feeds us. He gives us what we need. And then number 17, and yet they sinned still more against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert by trying him, like, oh, we want flesh, we want this and that, right? So he gives them flesh, this and everything that so that he rains down. He rained down manna on them to eat, and he gave them the grain of the Shamaim. I mean, this is just incredible. The man ate bread of the mighty. He sent them provision to satisfaction, and he's making all these wonderful, wonderful demonstrations of love.
But
And
they
yet,
forget.
and then number 2, in spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. So he ended their days in a breath. Right, so he got wroth with them because he's doing all these things so that we could, give him the honor that he deserves, and yet we're still sinning against him. But he's so merciful. In number 38, it says, "But he, the compassionate one, pardoned wickedness, and did not destroy them, and many a time he turned his displeasure away. He did not stir up all his wrath, for he remembered that they were but flesh," right? A passing breath that does not return. So I'm just wondering. I mean, it goes on. So okay, so all this is written for us, brothers and sisters, to know, to learn from, right? It's like. What could we take from Psalms 78? To imprint these words in our children and to live by them as an example to them, so that they may have the wisdom to imprint the same Torah, the words of life, in their children. And this is the way and how the 5th commandment, to honor your mother and father, it will be even more done so, and for the generation to come. Yeah, because we don't want a generation to grow up and disillusion. I don't know. We want them to know the truth. Point taken. So Shema Israel, imprint these words on your children, and love life. Yah is good. Shalom.